All right, we're going to continue with the little news theme. Let's talk about a little real estate news. Housing affordability will influence the vote in 2024. Housing and real estate always affects the real estate market when it's a presidential year. And this, I went back to do a little bit of research on this topic, and I found it very interesting because I have noticed over the last 20 years, certainly I've been in presidential cycles, and I see what happens. Usually in a presidential year, there are a few things that happen. Number one, we have a sense of insecurity because we don't know who's going to be in office at the beginning of 2025. I mean, we can take guesses. We think right now that our candidates are President Biden and former President Trump. Okay, but guess what? There's a lot of time between now and the election. And then there are people who are Republican, Democrat, Independent. But there are also a lot of people who are just trying to live their lives. And politics is not as important in their mind than it is in others. So if you have concerns about the presidential election and your real estate, whether or not you should sell your home now, buy a home now, what are the interest rates doing? And I will tell you, interest rates are fluctuating. They're still right around 7%. It may be dipping just a little bit lower than 7% or a little bit higher any given day, depending on your credit score and your debt and your income. That all is an important factor when you move forward. So often the trends during a presidential year in the real estate market are, number one, a slowdown in transactions. Because some people say, you know what, I'm just going to hold tight until the election is over and I see what happens. I don't know that I buy into that because we don't know what's going to happen. So holding tight may not be the best decision. If you know the market is really strong right now, why not move forward with your plans? Why live your life waiting and waiting and waiting? I think you need to live your life right now, and you have to do what's best for you right now instead of waiting. But we have seen over the years a slowdown in the number of transactions. It's all about that uncertainty in the future. And a lot of people are, I got to wait and see what happens. Well, actually, with the two candidates, we kind of know what will happen, maybe, because we've seen President Biden over the last 4 years. We've seen President Trump, former President Trump. If those are our candidates and those are our options and somebody else doesn't come out of the woodwork, we sort of have an idea, based on your own biases, who's going to be the best. Prices. During a presidential year, prices of real estate properties tend to remain relatively stable because the current president and the current administration, they don't want to rock the boat. And real estate is such a big topic, and it is a concern of so many people that the administration wants to keep prices stable. They want to keep everybody just as stable as possible. Have you ever noticed during a presidential year that the gas prices tend to just magically go down a little bit? Because that's going to make you feel good as a voter, as an American. That's an easy one at the pump. But pricing in real estate and the real estate mortgage rates, stability is what the current administration is looking for. Again, mortgage rates, we're seeing a little bit of a fluctuation. There is no indication that it's going to jump back up to 8 or 9. Certainly not this year, because that would spell some problems for the current administration. Market confidence, that's another huge factor during a presidential year and all the time, quite honestly. Housing market confidence, consumer confidence plays a significant role in the real estate market. How comfortable are you to make a move? Do you make a move because you have to or because you want to? That's super important. So we could see some increased activity in the market. Now, I told you a minute ago, there's a slowdown in transactions. Again, it just depends on consumer confidence and how everybody's feeling about stuff. And right now, it's also about what is happening in the market. And in the grand scheme of things, you can't predict if a loved one passes away or if you get a new job, or there may be circumstances beyond your control that make you want to move. You may have a family and you end up having triplets or something, and that little apartment is going to get small really fast. So, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get myself into a home or I'm going to go crazy. So those are the things, personally, we're all a little selfish. And it really comes down to what's happening in your life, what's happening in your world, what's the best decision for you. And then there's certainly so many regional variations and factors about real estate that have nothing to do with the presidential election, but it may have something to do with local elections. It may have something to do with your school board, and if they're going to put another item on the ballot that's going to cost you more money where you live, your property taxes may go up because of a school levy. And that's definitely something, especially as we get older and our income may stabilize and not be rising all the time. That's also a reason, it's a personal reason, why people will sell a home, because it's just time and you can't afford the taxes anymore, so you're going to find a place to. And I have had more and more people, and I find this kind of fascinating because I've seen so many changes over the last 20 years in real estate. I've seen people who will sell their home, bank their money, rent something because they don't have to be tied to a home. They can spend time traveling, spend time doing the things that they want to do, because then they'll have the funds to be able to do that. And maybe when it comes to retirement, you've got money and you're like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to use it? Am I going to enjoy my life for the last 20 years? Or am I going to just, all of my hard work is just going to go to my kids? I don't know. That's a decision that you have to make. So whether it's a presidential year or not, that makes zero difference. Zero difference. So these are just trends that we see. It's interesting. Very often when I'm sitting at your kitchen table, I do hear from you. And I hear that you say some things that are political. I try to stay out of the middle of that because that's not my expertise. I have my opinions, but I usually keep them to myself. And it's okay, because my focus 100% is on you and what's best for you right now at this moment. Is it time to sell your home? Should you sell your home? How much should you sell your home? Should you invest money into getting your home ready? Then it's time to put it on the market. And then we're going to hopefully get you sold quickly, and we're going to get you the most money, and then we can decide. Because oftentimes, again, I told you at the beginning of the segment, I may work with you 6 months before you sell your home, and then potentially 6 months after you sell your home, because you may be getting everything ready to sell, and then you're going to buy. I'm creating, I hope, when I work with my clients, and most real estate agents are the same way, I hope that we're creating a relationship that will last for a long time. A long-lasting relationship that you always remember my name. Like Norm at Cheers? I always want you to remember my name, Michelle Sloan at SloanSellsHomes.com. And I'm going to take a break. And I'm just going to let you think about that. If it's time to buy or sell, you want to call Michelle at SloanSellsHomes.com. Okay? Okay. Take a quick break. You're listening to 55 KRC, the talk station.